For Senate Bill 1141, Senator Galloway. And thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee. I'm going to give it just a second. They're going to pass out the amendments so that you guys can see it, and then I'll start.
Go ahead and get started. They can
Okay.
do that.
Sounds good. Good morning. My name is Cody Galloway. I represent Legislative District 15 in West Boise. Today, I'm here to address the issue of public camping. On your desk is a page of photos that illustrate what camping in public spaces looks like. It does not look like the camping you imagine in a campground or in the mountains. This kind of public camping on our roads, sidewalks, and parks is dirty, dangerous, and even deadly. Public camping like what you see on your desk creates a plethora of problems, including public safety issues, sanitation and health concerns, and increased crime. Some may say that it is unkind and unfair to stop people from public camping. On page 2 of the pictures on your desk is the heartbreaking story of a small child who died while camping in a car in Boise. It appears the warming stove tipped over and caught the car on fire. Just last month, 2 little girls lost their life while sleeping in a vehicle instead of a shelter. I would argue that permitting public camping is far from kind. It is inhumane and uncaring to let the most vulnerable of our society live like this. Public camping is dirty, it's dangerous, and it can be deadly. While the pictures and stories may be difficult to hear, today you will have the opportunity to vote on show that the state of Idaho has compassion on those most in need by stopping the dangerous practice of public camping. In working on this legislation, I talked to the city's Department of Admin, Parks and Rec, local shelters, and many, many constituents. After listening to the stakeholders, there were some very good ideas brought forth. At the conclusion of this hearing, I will ask that you send this bill to the 14th order to be amended, as you see on the draft in front of you. If you flip to the purple page in your packet, you can see the draft amendments. Line 8, actually, let's go ahead and start. Okay. The amendments that I'm suggesting to the bill are going to improve the original bill by clarifying definitions, removing the private cause of action, and limiting the scope of this bill to cities with a population of greater than 100,000. Let's walk through this legislation. You can follow on the purple page. Line 8 reads, public camping or sleeping as provided in this section shall be unlawful. Skipping down to section 2, line 18, defines public camping as sleeping as the unauthorized lodging or residing in a temporary outdoor habitation, and it goes on to extensively define it. Section 3 protects the kind of camping that includes pine trees, s'mores, and sometimes mosquitoes. It ensures authorized specific temporary events and activities can still occur. 4-H kids can camp at the fair to watch over their animals. Family reunions can meet in the city parks. Firefighters can set out camp when they're trying to put out a fire. And private businesses can establish their own rules. It also allows a timeline that allows for sleeping at rest areas and make sure that someone that wants to pull over on the side of the road and take a small nap, they're driving from here back to home on the weekend, that's okay. Section 4 includes the enforcement mechanism. Section 5 limits this act to cities with a population greater than 100,000. In sum, this legislation protects our public places, keeps Idahoans safe, and ensures Idaho will continue to be the gem that it is. I'll stand for any questions, or we can do testimony.
All right.
I am Bill Roscoe, President and CEO of the Boise Rescue Mission. I live in Meridian, Idaho. Mr. Chairman and committee members, I support the amendment proposed by Senator Galloway this morning. My primary concern is for the health and safety of people who choose to sleep outside, whether on a sidewalk, in a vacant lot, or in a vehicle, because none of these places are safe or healthy for a person to spend the night. The obvious danger to a person sleeping outside are the elements and the health risks that they pose to anyone not properly dressed or sheltered. Certainly, the overall health of anyone who sleeps outside in the elements is going to suffer, especially children, the elderly, and anyone with an existing chronic illness. Another danger from sleeping outside is the risk of accident. Sleeping too close to a roadway or river, a steep hillside could result in injury or death. Accidentally burning themselves while sleeping too near an open flame, or accidentally setting a vehicle on fire. These are true hazards that people risk, and we have seen these in Boise. Another serious danger is physical violence perpetrated against a sleeping homeless person. In my 33 years of rescue mission ministry, I've personally known hundreds of people who were attacked, assaulted, and/or raped, robbed while sleeping outside, including a man who was beaten to death near the Road Skate Park. I also support Senator Galloway's amendment because here in the Valley there is safe, clean, supervised shelter available to anyone in need. Just speaking of the Boise Rescue Mission, we have a policy to never turn a homeless person away. Every night we have space available in our 4 shelters in Boise or Nampa. On occasion, we've provided a motel voucher to homeless guests when our own facilities were not able to provide the best and safest place for them. We have never been full. Finally, I support Senator Galloway's proposal because if people come to our shelter, we can then help them to recover from homelessness and the misery that it brings. Thank you. I'll stand for questions.
Thank you for your testimony. Don't see any questions.
I'm Kathy Iliff. I'm the owner of the fitness studio Core Strong and the property in which it is located on the corner of River and Americana. Our business is in one of the highest crime areas of the city. We are constantly faced with all manner of bad behavior, primarily by people who sleep on sidewalks, sometimes ours, or in cars around our property. Safety is a key issue for us, and Boise City refuses to address our concerns. We have seen firsthand how Boise's focus has been on these campers and not on the tax-paying property and business owners. While we understand that our doors should be unlocked during business hours, we must keep them locked to prevent vagrants from pushing in, trying to use our restrooms or otherwise disrupt our business. Campers have dumped Home Depot-sized buckets full of feces in our recycle bins, to the point where we must have our refuse bin locked and take our recyclables home for disposal. Our client base is 95% women, females, and we'd had countless issues with them being harassed in our parking lot, including indecent exposure and physically attacking and denting cars. On several occasions, there have been campers sleeping in front of our studio doors, and our staff is afraid to deal with them. So we must wait for the police to arrive, usually 30 to 60 minutes or more. And by the time they arrive, the person causing the problem has departed. This disrupts our business and our clients' fear for their safety. We see drugs being sold in Cooper Court, the alley behind our property, and no significant police presence to curtail it. During one particular bad period, my husband called the police 3 times, speaking to a different officer each time, and was told by all 3 that the city has a hands-off policy regarding sleeping or camping in our area, which the city denies. While we have compassion for the homeless and support efforts to help improve their lives, we think it critical to have a law banning camping on public property so that we have a safe environment for our clients and staff.
Thank you for your testimony. Senator Galloway, do you want to summarize things for us?
Promise to take under 2 minutes and answer just a couple questions. How's that?
That's fine.
Excellent. I want to respond to 4 questions that came up in the hearing. The first one was on the day or night sleeping and timelines and being able to sleep in cars if you're driving. That's addressed on page 1, line 21. There's a qualifier in there. Number 2, many people talked about this not being a successful solution and hoping that there could be more housing and more money. I want to just give you a couple data points that reflect that money is not always the answer. In 2019, the Continuum of Care was awarded $4.45 million to help reduce the numbers in the Boise area. The numbers, the PIT counts, those are the number of people experiencing homelessness at the time, were 2,315. If we fast forward to 2024, the award was over $8 million. That means it nearly doubled. If you're doing math, you'd probably expect those PIT counts to go down. They didn't. They increased. So spending money on the problem is not always the only solution as well. So we need to create some good guidelines and to protect these people with the public camping. Third, I want to address the courts. We referenced the Martin v. Boise case. That is not the ruling precedent. It is the Grants Pass decision that just came out this previous summer. And it actually widens. It went all the way to the Supreme Court and allows for many more protections for the city of Boise. They could actually tighten their camping ordinances in response to the latest SCOTUS decision. And then the last one, I wanted to just touch on the criminalization and how the police are responding. There is dispute over how effective we are at taking care of the people that are affected by this. And there's a testimony in your packet of the woman that was going to give it is 39 weeks pregnant and didn't make it here this morning. But she lists several experiences where she had to call up to 10 times to try to get response in dangerous situations. So there's definitely a problem that's not being addressed. We do not want people to go to the jail. We do not need to criminalize this. And if you go back to the very first testimony where they talked about enacting a camping ban, and after 6 months, only having 5 people end up actually being cited for a camping ordinance violation. So I think we can do better in the state. This is a small problem. We can solve it right now. We can nip this in the bud and make sure that we protect people and keep Idaho a safe place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Again, the motion by Senator Anthony, second by Senator Taves, is to send Senate Bill 1141 to the 14th order for possible amendments. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Senator Ruckte will be recorded as voting no. That motion carries. Committee appreciates your diligence, and hopefully we'll avoid some Tuesday and Thursday meetings. But with that, we're adjourned.